Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday, March 19th. And I just want to give a shout out to my grandson, Russell, who'll be 4 years old tomorrow. Tomorrow, he's very lucky. He shares the birthday with my father and the first day of spring. So, I have so many things to show you today that I feel like I'm kind of trapped in here. But I've got stuff all, in fact, let me move a few things out of my way. But hello, hello, hello. Anybody know what this is? Charlene Piper. I went to mail a package the other day and grabbed your package to finally mail it to you. Realized I don't have your address. So, Charlene, would you please send me an email to OurTimeToQuilt at twc.com and send me your address by email so I can finally send this package to you. It's only been 2 years probably. And I was getting ready to come on the show and I was cleaning off my glasses lens and popped the lens out. Now, luckily, these are reading glasses. And since I'm known to be tough on things, I buy them in bulk off Amazon. So the only thing is I don't want the lens to fall out today because it'll make it a little hard for me to read on the screen. But it's kind of just tacked in. At some point, it's probably has backed up. But anyway, isn't it fun to be me? I tell you, there's always something going on. So, hello, let me try to get this. Let me try to get this lens in here because it just bothers me. But I hope you're having a good day. We have had a couple frost warnings this week. And, it was 80 a couple weeks ago. And now that everything is budding out, it's flirting around with freezing everything. And I feel bad for the farmers because, like, strawberry crops are at a really tricky point. And they're having a terrible time. So, I broke the glasses. Okay. Hold on 1 second more. I think I might have a remedy. Of course, I could just go upstairs and get a new pair of glasses. Well, I don't have a remedy in this drawer, sorry to say. We'll just see how I do. Careful, Deb. Ooh. Okay, so what is going on? Marcia's here. Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. I've got a story I'll tell about Lisa. Not about Lisa, but I thought of her yesterday. Robin's here. Debbie is here. Oh, now, let's see. Let me look at BB is here. Hi, sweetie. Cheryl Hogan, how good to see you. Barbara Smith, Charlene Piper, lots of good names. Betty Middleton. Betty, I hope, did I respond back to you? If not, I'm going to today. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. Let me see, something about Robin. Oh, honey, I'm very sorry. Robin lost her brother-in-law to brain cancer Friday. Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Alberta's here. Alberta is from Alabama. So, Meltem's here from Turkey. Mwah. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, Meltem is here. That is wonderful. Okay, so yesterday, I wanted to be very calm and relaxed and ready for this show. I did my French general inspired nod to the 18th century blocks. By Friday, I had those done. Yesterday, I said, I'm going to finish my Myrtle Beach quilt party video. I spent over 9 hours on it. And then I don't know how, but then it unscrambled and I lost a lot of stuff. I've got it to put it back in. But after 9 hours of working so hard on it, I closed the lid and walked away. Because if I didn't, I might have tossed that laptop across the room. So at some point, we'll get the Myrtle Beach quilt party videos. And the reason I mentioned Lisa is because I was putting in the scenes from the classroom, and you'll get to she's in the shadow, but you'll get to see our Lisa. And, but anyway, so at some point I'll get it. I've just got to figure out when I'm brave enough to tackle it again. I tell you what, thank goodness for live streams. I can't deal with this whole video editing. I'm not any good at it. And I have a condition called, it's almost good enough. Let me do one more thing. And that's when it seems to always go haywire. So if I get it anywhere close, I'm just going to publish it because I just can't waste any more of my time. I don't have that many years left. Mark and I the other day were talking about my hair because I stopped coloring it. I used to color it a blonde. And I've been doing that for so many years, 20 years, 25 years. I didn't know how much gray hair I had. And so when we were looking at the video, I went, oh my gosh. And he said, yeah, you're silver haired. And it's just it's so funny that, now that the dye is out, it's a lot different than I thought it was going to be. All righty. Oh, you sweetheart. I really wanted to get it done. And I love taking you with me. There's so many pictures, but I thought about it. If I can't get the dumb thing to work, then we're going to just have a show one day where I show you the pictures and individual little film clips, at least to show you the show and tells, because they are wonderful. So I'll make a decision on that this week. All right. So did anyone answer what they thought this was? This is binding for my exploding heart quilt. Aw. Oh, honey, I'm so tickled. Thank you for saying that. I tell you, I really realized how much I miss y'all. When I took that week off, I missed y'all terribly. And it's just good for my soul. It's also good for keeping me active and creating. I'm afraid if I didn't have y'all, I might just sit in a chair and browse the internet. That's not good. So, but anyway, I made this, and you won't believe it. I'm getting so kind of carefree and full of myself. I just ripped. I pulled out my black fabric. I estimated 2.5-inch cuts, and then ripped the pieces and then stitched them together and ironed them and said, good enough. So that's the one thing I was telling my daughter. I think it was my daughter, or was it Mark? But I love that you can be sassy now that you're of an age. It's like, when we were so young, whatever. But, and yesterday was International Quilt Day. And, I had watched Alex Anderson on Friday and thought, I'll hang a quilt on the front porch. And then I noticed the other day in my the PBS channel, that they were going to have from noon to 6 p.m. all quilt shows. But guess what? I got busy working on that silly video. and forgot all about, I didn't do any of it. So now I'm sad. But you know what? Life is just busy. Oh, while I'm thinking of it, you know how we're working on our beach landscape? Well, I have been doing some tearing of white fabric, which I'll explain to you. I got another silly Deb story. And, but anyway, these are all of the threads. When you tear fabric, you know how you'll get these long threads? Well, I saved these because I said they'll be great in our beach landscape. Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing I love about modern quilting and art quilting. You can use anything you want. How exciting is that? So I'm saving. I carefully gathered my white threads and I'm saving that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up and show you my exploding heart quilt. And then I'll bring it up close and show you what I did so far as quilting it. I've got to tell you, it's so funny. So I'm sitting at the quilting frame and I have my nose right in this quilting the whole time. And I'm noticing every slightly wavy line, every time I didn't quite get a perfect heart. I'm just really down on myself, thinking, girl, you've got to practice more. You know, maybe this just isn't your thing. And then when I got the quilt off the frame, I flumped it out onto the floor and went, that quilting looks just fine. Not good enough to enter a show, but who cares? It is plenty good enough for me to enjoy. So good enough. So remember that it's so easy to, I'm trying to get this camera a little more, okay, a little more upright so that when I hold my quilt up, you'll be able to see it. Okay? All right. Let me make sure I've got it right side up. That's the thing about this. I'm not used to quilts that you have to have the right side up. But I had to get this done so that I could get that finished for to enter in the show, which I haven't heard back yet. So I'm not worried too much. Okay. All righty. And let me tell you, having this border makes all the difference. So it really brings the colors together. And I can't even hold it up enough to show you everything. It is a big, big quilt. Let me sit back down here. Oh, this is a very, very big quilt. Okay. This is part of the reason I'm telling you. It's like, I've got so much right here. I just saw a spare pair of eyeglasses. Let me see if I can clean these up enough to use them. That's the one problem, to try to put the lens can sometimes sneak out, but when you put the force needed to put it back in, it cracks. All right. Thank goodness they're cheap. What did I tell you? All right. So now, all right. I say all right plenty. Here is, whoops, I just saw a little tack. I used the red plastic quilter's tack to put them on the frame. But doesn't that border just bring all the colors together? So what I did around the border, I quilted the outline of the pattern. Sometimes if you don't know what to quilt, look at the fabric and see if it gives you a hint. And this fabric had so many pretty wavy lines that I just outline quilted it. How easy is that? And I'm glad, because since it is busy, if I had done specific shapes and things, I think it would have overwhelmed it. So what I did is just went with the flow and followed the pattern. Then for the background, I did hearts and loops. and I did the hearts, all different, pointing all different ways. Now, since I hadn't machine quilted in a while, I put the quilt on upside down. If you do that, that's a good thing to do sometimes, because if it'll allow you to quilt at the bottom of the quilt where people don't usually look, and it allows you to kind of get your groove back. By the time you are at the top of the quilt, then you're much better at it. So now the only thing I have left to do is to put the binding on and stitch that down. So, all right. So that's done. And there, in fact, well, I was thinking of hanging it up. Hold on just a second. Let me try to hang this up. Okay. That is one big quilt. Oh, goodness gracious. That is very big. Oh, I hung it up sideways. Oh, well. Just turn your head. You won't know. Okay. So, yeah, thank you. I tell you, it does make sense to sometimes just look at the fabric, and especially if it's a busy fabric, look at it and say, how can I I have to quilt it. It needs quilting, but what can I do to kind of calm it down just a little bit? So, all right. Now, that's done. The quilt is entered into the show. I hope to hear sometime, I think by the end of later this month. And who knows, but if I just get accepted, I'll be happy. Oh, that brings to mind something. That brings to mind. Lately, we have had a run of new members, and I couldn't be happier. We have Martha just joined, I think this morning or last night. Sylvia, Linda, Diana Jones, which we love. Diana is the one I think that Diana has the brand new YouTube channel. Then Denise Weeks and someone named Mama Duke, but I'm not sure what her first name is. So when you join, make sure that you put the name you want us to call you on there, because people do like to know who they're talking to, and I don't know who Mama Duke is. So anyway, but I wanted to say, way to go. Thank you to our new members, and I just love how we grow. And, some people might drop out here and there. Their lives get busy. They do other things, and then new people come right in. So we're very, very, very lucky. So thank you very much. Jody, I keep forgetting. I've been meaning to write you. I'm hoping you're done with the radiation, sweetheart. And I'm hoping that it didn't make you too sick. We worry about that. I've got so much sun coming in this window. Let me see if I can turn off that lamp. That's better. I usually keep a lamp over here. Trying to work out lighting to be on TV is crazy. But radiation is over. Yes, sweetheart. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, Jody. Good job. Did it make you very sick? I don't really know that much about what radiation does to people. So, Mary is here. Polly is here. Oh, this is so nice. All right. Well, let me see. The next thing on the list. Okay, we'll talk about my time off. It started out really exciting. Although I kept no sickness and no oh, wonderful, sweetheart. That's wonderful. Boy, my mirror is shining on my ceiling. Let me tilt that mirror because I don't want it starting a fire on my ceiling. But it started off exciting. But I tell you what, having this channel and staying busy like I do really does help keep me focused. And that is wonderful. But it was nice. It was like, oh, I don't have to do a show tonight. I can just relax. I can just be in the moment, which is, that's a good thing to be, is in the moment. And but I was telling y'all some things I did, and let me get something set up here to show you. It's coming up on Easter, and every time I think of Easter, I think of Pasanki. And that is, and you know what makes my heart so happy? Pasanki is a Ukrainian art form. And you know how we love our Ukraine and are very concerned about all of the Ukrainian people and hoping that they are well and, doing good. So what I did is I got out some store-bought eggs because my chickens are laying again and we have like eggs, and more eggs. And I can't use my own eggs because, I could use them, but they're brown and green. So you usually want white. And I just realized something. I cracked this egg. So it's probably not going to, all the work I have done on it is I'm going to have to redo it. But I just looked, I picked it up and I put it in my bag and said, oh, I better be careful with that. Well, I cracked it. So anyway, but look at the work that I did on that egg. And I have been watching my YouTube channels on how to do an egg and how to divide up the spaces. And so what I did is I used this Jenny Beyer pen, which is really good because it has a very fine lead in it. So that works good. Now, let me do something here. I'm not going to be able to do much, but I just wanted to show you just a little bit. So what I did is I was very careful to divide up. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on just a second, sweethearts. I want to make sure okay, good. All right. So I've got one of my Kitskas is stuck in the wax. I hadn't used this in a while. All right, let me get a paper towel and let me get my, okay, I want to get this Kitska cleaned off. Okay. All right, so Pasanki is an Eastern, it was based in earlier, before Christianity converted their springtime to Christian beliefs. It's been around for quite a while. And what people would do is take the egg and carefully draw designs on it. And since it's been around for thousands of years, some of the Pasanki artists are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, I like to use the candle, and these are actually Sabbath candles that I got because they burn slower. So it's kind of nice. I've got two different faiths. So what I do is you use beeswax. That's the best thing to use because of the melting point, and it just makes really nice. See how I rub off the tip? But the wax, you put wax in there, You keep it warm. Now, beeswax is a pale yellow, but what happens is you get soot on the beeswax. Let me come down a little closer too. You get soot on the beeswax, and so it turns black. And actually, I like that better because it makes it easier to see where you're putting the wax. So, what this is kind of think of this as a batik process because you take wherever I put, use this Kitska to put the beeswax, wherever I put that, the egg will stay white. Because what I'm going to end up doing is dyeing this egg different colors. So I'll start out with yellow first, then orange, then red. But before I go to green, I've learned something which I'm really tickled about. And that is you can't mix red and green because if you do, the egg is going to turn brown. So they use a toilet bowl cleaner which will strip off any color that's not waxed down. It'll strip off any color that's not waxed down, and then that way you can get a beautiful green. So, watching all of these videos during my time off was really a good thing for me. So, you see, you just carefully work along. Now, if I end up getting too much wax build up, or if it gets too hot, it'll make blobs. So you have to keep it clean and keep it just filled enough without overfilling it. And then I found another wonderful thing which I'm thrilled about, and that is when you've gotten your black as your final dye color, and when you have finally gotten that all done, then what you do, and here are some other Kitskas, and you can tell by the little base. It's like a little metal pot that holds the wax, and you heat it up. And here is where I put the wax on. When you're all done with all, okay, so now wherever the wax is stays white once I'm all done. But then I'll come in and do some yellow area. I'll put it in yellow dye. And when I do the yellow, then wherever I want the yellow to stay, I wax over that. Then I dye it orange. Wherever I want the orange to stay, I put wax on that. And that's how you end up covering everything finally except what you want to turn black. So when it comes time, when you've done your final dye and you need to get this wax off, you can use a candle, but you hold it to the side of the flame, never on top. And you first put a little olive oil on the egg. The olive oil helps to float the wax right off the egg. Is that exciting? So I will try to work on, here is my little, see that little divot crack? And I was going to get ready and put a hole in it and get the insides out and plug the hole back up and then do the work. But unfortunately, I cracked it. So I will be making another one just like this. And it's just really quiet and peaceful to do at night. Don't worry about the pencil marks because they will come off with the wax and all of that. So, yeah, exactly, Mary. I used to do that as a kid, too. And then when I found out more, I thought, ooh, I want to do more. But it's the same thing, and it's just like batik fabric. So hopefully by next week, I'll have an egg fully done that I can show you. But hi, there is Carol. Hi, sweetheart. Denise is here. Yay. So anyway, but I'll show you more of this next week. But I thought I would just give you a little hint. And here are some of the dyes that are good to use. And So it's just a wonderful. Here is one of my candles right there. I just like, you can tell they look dense. But anyway, and sometimes I use my 1/4 inch tape to tape off segments so I can keep my egg design in very, very clear. Here are beeswax. Some people make little teeny bits of them so they can easily put them in the kitska. And you can find, there are Pasanki places online that you can find, or even Amazon. I have a feeling. I'm pretty sure they have a beginner kit for like $25 or something. Now, when you go online and look up, a lot of people have the electric kitska, and which is really nice, but I do not do enough of this to warrant that. But anyway, it's just another, I love, love, love some of these old style or home arts, you might want to call them. And I don't want to lose them. I feel sad sometimes thinking, pardon me, when you think about, not how many people do tatting anymore. So I want to try to learn as many things. In fact, I was cleaning up my frame room. I keep my long arm frame upstairs in a little bedroom. And I was cleaning it up and I saw my bobbin lace making stuff. Then I was watching Carol, our Canadian artisan, and she was doing bobbin lace. I couldn't believe it. Carol, I'm so excited. So what I want to make sure to do is catch up with Carol. I want to watch her some more, and I might be writing you to ask questions, but I made myself a pillow. I've got bobbins, all of that. I took a couple lessons from a lady, but I got nervous in the classroom and had a hard time really learning. Watching Carol made such sense. The way she says it and walks you through the process. What I also love is you don't have to get a fancy pillow with moleskin on the cover or some kind of velvet or whatever. She does it on her woolly mat. And she just uses pins, and she has a number of bobbins. And one thing you can do is use your regular sewing thread with it, or you can use DMC floss, whatever you want. So, Carol, thank you for helping to teach me, because I would love that, Miss Carol. I would love that, but I'm anxious to get that bobbin pillow back out. There are so many things that I dearly love. I know I spend most of my time on quilting, but I love drawing. I love painting. I love basket weaving. I love flower arranging. I love paper bead making. I love Pasanki. I want to learn how to tat. I love crochet. I don't love knitting because it's too difficult for Deb and dangerous. Those needles are a little sharp on the end. But there's so many things I love and I want to do it all. I used to always say I need 6 lifetimes to do everything that I want to do. So, have you seen those Polish intricate painted eggs? Ooh. You know, one thing you can do if you want to try to do painted eggs is you can use like lollipop sticks, little, or take off the cotton off a Q-tip. If you're afraid, I don't know if I can do all of those intricate designs, take a lollipop stick. Let me see if I have one in this drawer. But what you do is you dip, I have Q-tips, but you take and dip, pretend you've taken the cotton off that. So you just have something round. And I prefer the white little lollipop, like Tootsie Roll Pops sticks. And you dip that in your acrylic paint and touch it on your egg. So if you like do a background color on your egg and then use different colors and use dots to make really intricate designs. That might help if you're a little nervous about, oh, how do I do all these intricate designs? So I love all of this. It's really exciting. So now let's go to, and I think I talked to y'all some on Thursday, whoever who was here Thursday night, about trying to get that quilt ready to show. Oh my gosh, going over it with a fine-tooth comb. Let me tell you, you know what that phrase comes from, fine-tooth comb? Well, everyone used to have lice. And in fact, when I studied history, one of the things we studied is people were paid. People were paid to be what were called nitpickers. And nit is the little larva that makes your head itch. And they would come and they would use a very fine-toothed comb and they would clean your head of nits. And they got paid for that. Can you imagine? So anyway, I just thought I'd tell you, go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Now you know where that phrase came from. And when you say it, you'll think, oh, no. But anyway, but you have to go over it and look for any, loose threads, anything. And then trying to get the border quilted. In fact, I hung that up. Now I kind of want to show you because not everybody, some people that are here today weren't here Thursday. Let me see if I can get this. All right. All right. Let's see. Pull this off. And maybe I can even, let me see. I can even put the other one on the right way up. Or totally upside down. All right, here we go. But now I have only 137 UFOs to go. So I'm getting stuff knocked off. All right, let me scoot this back a little bit. And that way you'll be able to see it better. All right. So, for some of you who didn't watch Thursday's show, see, now you can see the exploding heart better. All right. Let me turn back on the light. What I did is I wanted to I like taking my art quilts and mimicking a picture frame. So, the interior border, this little strip right here, that takes the place of mat board. So I quilted an egg. I went online, looked up wooden frames because I wanted to mimic a wooden frame design for this. So I did the egg and dart along this little part right here. Then I looked and saw these cute little circles. And you know what? I don't know exactly what they're called. But on the inside edge of a wooden frame, there are those little circles. Then I looked at frames that had corner motifs. So I did this corner motif, which reminds me of quilted feathers anyway. Here is the center motif. So each corner and each center side got that motif. Now, when I did the thread painting, that was just the bottom layer was the muslin, the foundation that I made the quilt on. But to turn it into a quilt, you have to put a quilt backing on it, and you put the batting. And so here is the quilting that I did on this. Now, the one thing that worries me when you do a lot of thread painting is the quilt can be distorted where it's heavily thread painted. So do you see how it's puffed out a little in the middle? So the only thing I worry about, if it's accepted, hopefully they know with these, you have to kind of pat them down just a little bit and make them lay flat, because they don't want you to send it rolled up. They don't want any unusual shaped boxes because, postage is a problem this day and age nowadays. So, anyway, but I just thought I would show you. So, there are probably a few little stitches I could pick off of the back, and I've got to put a 4-inch hanging sleeve on it. So I'll just do a fabric sleeve like that, and I'll carefully hand stitch it top and bottom in place. Then I have to do a label on the back, which I haven't done. I'm not going to do that unless I hear I got in the show, because I don't want to get my heart set on this. But anyway, so I just thought this last Monday, I was so frazzled. I was trying to keep it together, because when all of a sudden you say, I want to enter this in a show, it's a whole different ballgame. It's nothing like my exploding heart quilt. This is, you look at every square inch of this puppy and see, is there any way I can make it better? But I like what the quilting did on the trees. I'm going to try to turn it a little to see if you can kind of see that it gave them a little 3D effect. So, and then you have to take pictures of your quilt, and you've got, your acceptance is a lot dependent on your photography. So I got my light out, and I was leaning over it, and you have to get one full picture of the front and one close-up, and deciding, okay, what part of the quilt? Well, Mark said, I love those trees, so I did the close-up of the trees. But anyway, I just thought I would tell you, if you ever think about entering a quilt in a show, don't wait till the last minute. Be prepared for maybe 2 weeks give yourself 2 weeks to really go over the quilt, put any finishing touches, because once you enter it, that's it. And so make sure. Now, with the stuff I've got to do on the back of this, that's fine. But I wouldn't want to go altering anything once I've taken the picture and entered it. But you can neaten and tidy everything up and make sure it's the best. And so that night before I took the pictures, I kept going over it. Is there anything I can do better? Is there anything? Like Mark told me when that night, he says he knows that even though I get very protective of my work, he knows that I do appreciate honest critiquing, because it improves my work. And so he said, that pond is starting to look like a log laying down, the way you did that circly part. So I went, oh. So I came back down before I had taken my pictures, before I entered it, and I got my ink tints, and I did a little touching up with ink tints so it would look more like the pond, and it had gotten lighter and lighter as I did things to it. And so I had to darken it back down again. So if you're lucky enough to have someone to help you critique. Now, Betty was talking about, she's having a hard time sewing her pieces down. One thing I wanted to know from Betty, did you use a foundation? That's why I use a foundation. If you try to just sew pieces of fabric, a collage of fabric with no foundation, it's really tough to get them to stay together. So my foundation, everything gets stitched down to my foundation. And I try not to use too much glue, because I know I'm going to do thread painting and all of that. And I don't want a glue that's going to chafe my thread or make it hard for me to get the stitching to go through. But I must have a couple hundred pieces of fabric in this quilt. And I was able to I was able to stitch it all down because it was laid on a muslin background. I also wanted to show you how I did the edge. I didn't want a binding on it. Although you've got to be careful. There's so much thread work. This part is so thick that the binding is a little bit floppy. I think I almost wish I had put 2 layers of batting in the binding. But I just wanted to show you. I do what I kind of call a knife edge, and I don't think that's the correct term, but what I do is I trim back my batting in between, because see, here's the backing, here's the front. And I trim back the batting a little, and then I tuck in the backing side, tuck in the front side, and do an invisible stitch along the edge. And I just like how it gives a very clean finish instead of having a lump of binding. But you know what? Do whatever your heart tells you to do and don't worry about it. But now, if I were to get accepted into the quilt show, then I've got to figure out, how do I package this? You know what? I just realized I just got in some puffy, bubbly wrap. I think it might be good to kind of fold or roll that in that bubbly wrap, because I don't want anything creasing, because when they take it out and hang it up, you know. All right, so I think I've covered that. That's facing the quilt. Oh, you're sweetie. What was I hearing? You have to have already won a ribbon to even enter the Houston Quilt Show. That all scares me. That's above my pay grade. You know what I'm saying? So I'm real happy now, right now, with my Mancuso shows, and we'll just I used to say I will never enter a quilt of mine in a show. It'd be like judging my children, and I'm not doing that. But then sometimes you kind of go, well. So, okay, let's now talk about our block of the week. I've got 2 for you this week because we didn't have one when I was off. So, that's right. This is the first Sunday that I've been back, isn't it? I was back Thursday and that. Wow. Okay, so here is, and Miss Lisa, I will be getting you a couple more patterns this week. I definitely will. Instead of binding, that edge is called facing. Oh, is that what you call it? Okay, you bring the 2 edges together like this, do an invisible stitch. Ah, okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Or is it Denise? No, Diana. Diana Bicknell. I should have known. That girl's so smart. All right. So the first week is block number 5. And I really like what I did to this one. I've got another one I'm going to need a little advice on. But this is block number 5. And I just think it is cute as a button. I just love that. So here is my version of that. One of the problems I have is trying to give it a scrappy background. Then I want blue, but then that green is also so nice too. So it's hard sometimes with these to work all the 3 colors in. I sometimes think I might be happier just using 2 colors or 3, background and then 2 of the colors, but I love blue and I want it in. So I will put this block on the site if it's not up there already. Thank you to Miss Jody for showing me how to do that. That was brilliant. I was having a hard time getting all of these intersections to lay flat. And I wanted to press them towards the dark, which is this dark red. She said, what if you clip that there? It was brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that was, and I don't even know, it's kind of a monkey wrench version, but I don't know the name of this block, but I will put that on the site if I haven't already. Then the next one, this is, oh, I did them out of order. Okay, never mind. The other day I was so excited to have the blocks done and I went, oh, I did them out of order. This one, I'll show you Lisa's because I think you might like Lisa's better. What this is supposed to be is kind of like a bow tie. Now, this is my problem I have. In the original photo, let me show you. The little half square triangle corner kind of thing, see how the snowball corner, you might want to call it, they're out of red. So they really show. Unfortunately, I thought that's the only weird place I can put blue. So I put blue on both sides. But when you pull back, it blends with the green. So I don't know if I'm going to need to do that again. Vicky Robles. Hi. Oh, you're getting better. Okay. Good job, sweetie. I was thinking of you recently. We just had our 5th anniversary on this channel. I'm so good to see Vicky. I'm so glad to hear from you. So anyway, I might go back and put red in the corners. I don't know. Do you have any? If y'all have any opinion, please give them to me. So I even thought if I don't want to take it apart, applique them on it. You know, this is just for me. Now, so that's block number 6. And here's what that looks like. I'll get this up on the site. Michelle Lang, sweetheart, how are you? Okay. That was block 6. Now, block 7 is this one. I thought it was so cute. The play between that golden brown and the darker plum brown. I think that is neat. So here is my version of that block. This time I just went red and green. I couldn't figure out how to add any blue. So that's that. Okay. So here is that block. So I will make sure that these get put. Now that is 7. And I'm going to tell you, first I was going to do a dozen blocks. So you could make a quilt 3 blocks wide by 4 blocks long. But there are a couple more that I really like. So I may go up to 15. I'll see. But do what you feel like. Don't do what you don't feel like. So I will put these on the site. And when we do show and tell, I'll show you Miss Lisa's. She has been wonderful. She works so fast and does them ahead. So I look at hers and go, okay, how should I do? What colors should I use? And hers are in a wonderful, playful color. So I really love how bright and happy hers are. All right. Well, last week, I drew an elephant, and I fell so in love embroidering oh, now, Jody, that's brilliant. See, that's why I love this group. We are interactive. We do listen to each other. Major migraines for over 2 years. Oh, honey. Wearing it on your forehead. Oh, gosh. But migraines are awful. Well, if it works, you can be Wonder Woman any day you want. But I drew this elephant, and then I fell so in love with it that I framed it. Is that being a braggy person, or I'm just so happy? It has been years since I've done this much creativity, and it's making me so happy. And I thought, I'm framing this puppy because I was really tickled with him. So that's the good news. Now, for the rest of the story, which is always a Deb has her story, like my poor little cracked Pasanke egg that I worked so hard on. You know, there's always a Deb part. All right. I first got some fabric. I put the medium fusible interfacing on the back, and I drew it. There's one thing to remember. This 16-point folding system, and then you fold your fabric in the same 16 rectangles. It's great, but there is a caveat to add. This is on a piece of paper that's taller than it is wide. I used a piece of fabric that was almost square. When I drew it, drawing just what's in each blocks, the poor guy, I don't know if I can even show you, but he ended up, see, I don't know if you can actually see this, but see the tusks? Well, his feet are right down there. So what I had ended up doing, because it was more square, even though I stuck to only drawing what was in each box, the fabric was off alignment with the drawing. So instead of getting a regal elephant that I drew, I got a short little stocky guy. The Danny DeVito of elephants. I mean, and Mark said, well, I just don't think that's the look you were going for. You were going for more regal, you know, that older kind of, and this one, yeah. So I forgot that I had used a permanent pen. I tried washing the fabric to get the first, thinking it was pencil, maybe it would come out, but no, it was a micron pen. It didn't come out. So then I came down and now I had drawn this. I was so proud of it. And when I held it up, Mark goes, So then he held it for me and I went, So I came back down, got all new, prepared for dyeing fabric, put the fusible interfacing on, and Mark sat down on the computer and said, okay, what is 8.5 to 11 paper? What's that ratio? Or 8 by 10.5? I forget the ratio, but what's that ratio? How do we expound upon that? So we were sitting there trying to do our cute little pigeon math, trying to figure out what size fabric I need to cut to get that tall, regal look. So I think I figured it out, and I thought, well, instead of going 42 inches, I'm going to go bigger. Okay, well, let me show you this. So then I came upstairs and I drew out this elephant. And here he is. Now, it's better, but then I sat there and said, oh my God, I'm going to have to put segments in this doodle African designs and then paint that whole thing. That's a lot of elephant to paint. So then I went, oh, brother. So, as I told you, Deb has a story with every project. And I like showing you so that if you go through the same thing where your eyes are bigger than your ability or whatever, you'll understand that it happens to some of us. This I'm going to save. Mark said, well, since you just did pencil on that one, we can wash it out. I said, I've always wanted to make a huge elephant quilt. Something where you hang it up and people are like, wow. And I've thought of doing encaustic type work to make that elephant skin. I don't know what I'm going to do. But this one, I'm going to save for that. And maybe I will end up just using different kinds of fabrics and who knows? But I realized that's too much to do the fabric painting. I don't know how much paint it would take, how long it's going to take me, trying to do those really intense doodles in all the little segments that I would do in that. That's no. And it's not, if I thought it was going to be so exquisite, then I'd put that effort in. But I love all my painted mandalas and things, but I don't know if I love it that much. So now this is what I did when I came down today. I'm using, because I'm frugal And my prepared for dyeing fabric is special to me because I'm going to want to do some more indigo dyeing soon as it gets warm. But I took and I'm reusing that fabric. And we peeled off all the fusible. And then the reason you can't see it that good because the right side is now with fusible on it. And I'm going to use the other side. Now, it does mean that, yeah, in some areas, you're going to see the drawing through the fabric. But that's okay. That is okay. Because who knows what I'll do when I finish it or whatever. This is more of a thing for fun. This is not going to be something that I go, wow, I don't think. And I thought, okay, well, what if it does turn out wow, and then you've got this? And I said, I'll figure that out later. I'll put something in, I'll use hand embroidery and put something there to kind of mask that drawing. So I've got to work out. I'm back to drawing yet another. This will be my fourth elephant that I've drawn. This elephant and I are really becoming close, you know, and I know every square inch of him, but I folded this again. When I make sure I'm going to do the math with Mark, and I'm going to make sure I've got the right, dimensions, then I'll do this. But that other one is there for when I finish my tiger, then I'll look into working on the elephant. So, all right. So now let me see. Oh, okay. I talked about everything, the blocks, the Zen animals. I wanted to talk real briefly about this Thursday night beach quilt. And let me grab all of my stuff here. There is stuff all over the place. Okay. All right. Now, this is just going to be a brief overview of our Thursday night. We do Art Quilt Thursday. And so, first thing I did is took a piece of muslin, because I always use a foundation, and on the back of it did fusible interfacing to give it some weight, because on this I will be doing collage fabric, and then I'll do thread painting, I'll do some ink tints painting, embellishing. So now this is all ready to go. Then I took my pattern and I drew out everything from the pattern. Okay, so now you can see. So now the fabric is ready and it's interfaced and the pattern's drawn on it. Well, and you might say, well, where's the pattern? I can send it to you by email. You print off the 4 pages, you tape them together. I used registration marks so you'll know exactly where it tapes together. And then you'll have your own pattern. But what I wanted to do, which I learned from Miss Judy Lilly, a wonderful landscape artist and paint artist. I mean, she's multi-talented. I used a piece of the Golden Threads paper and made another pattern. So now I drew the original, I drew on fabric, and I've drawn on this, but there's a good reason. While you will pin this to your muslin, matching, making sure you've got it lined up with what you've already drawn on the fabric. You pin the top of it, and that way you can flip this back, work on it, then flip it back down to make sure you still got it lined up right. Because as you put fabric down, you're going to cover up some of the things, and that way you'd be kind of lost. So that's what we're doing for that. Then I was thinking about this quilt, and if you notice, in fact, this you can tell on here, it's a lot of long strips. So I said, I think I want to try something a little different. It's fine to do raw edge applique or collage, raw edge collage, when you're doing woods, things that are very busy. But this beach scene is not going to be that busyness, the same as my woodland thing. So I'm going to turn this pencil side in so it doesn't end up getting rubbed. Okay, so now what I decided to do then was take 4 sheets of regular paper and then take and cut freezer paper to the exact size of a piece of regular paper and lightly iron it to each one freezer paper, sticky side to the paper, iron one piece of this to one piece of paper. So that way you can feed it through the printer. Now, if you can get your freezer paper to go in the printer without doing that, great. And then I printed out, so what it ended up being is I printed out the pattern again on freezer paper. And the reason I did that, let me tilt the camera down just a touch. Okay. And Mark took, my wonderful IT man, took and put a rubber band. I'm trying to go down my chatting. Don't forget, if you want to get my attention, write in all caps because I love to answer your questions. Okay, so hopefully I won't moving the camera around. Oh, take care, BB. It was so good seeing you, sweetheart. And congratulations for being on our site. So, anyway, this way, I am going to cut out the fabric. And I'm going to fold the top edge. I think the way I'm going to do it is fold the top edge over. The bottom edge of each piece will be longer, a 1/4 inch longer, and go under. The top edge will be folded over 1/4 inch, something nice. And in fact, Jody sent me something. I haven't been able to go listen to it, but it's Karen Eckmeyer. Hi, Melanie. Oh, sweetie, you come anytime you want. We don't have no one's ever late. So, BB, thank you for coming, but we're tickled you're here. So what I'm going to try to do is use this as patterns to cut my fabrics. And then fold over the top. So it's going to kind of have a finished look. I still will be using invisible threads to zigzag piece them. But I'm curious, Miss Jody does something similar to this when she does her amazing portrait work. And I'm going to give this a try. So before Thursday night, I'll have some of these pieces done. But all the different layers and different colors, and I label all my pattern pieces so I know exactly what to do with it. I've got some cheesecloth here because this I think is going to make a very exciting wave material. And look how much the thread and the cheesecloth, how similar they look. So anyway, I've got this, and this is just cheesecloth. Rust-Oleum cheesecloth that you can get from the hardware store. Okay? So anyway, this is our Thursday night art quilt project. And we'll be doing it for the next few weeks. I'm not going to rush it. I want to take you each step with me. The other thing, I forgot to show you one more thing that I tried during my break. I have been wanting to make prosperity hens. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, these are Deb's version of prosperity hens. And that is a big bell. I didn't know it was going to be that big when I ordered it, but it's a big bell. I've got it, so I'm using it. And I was hoping to use wire to wire everything up, but I packed the chickens so tight with stuffing that you know I couldn't get the wire I had to go up there. So I had to end up then. So the bottom part is wired to the bell, and I just put little cute things and pretty beads, and normally they're much smaller, but these worked better with my big hands. And I don't know how long I'm going to make. I'm probably going to do a certain number and then make a couple of them instead of just one. But aren't these cute? These are an Asian Indian thing that people give for good luck and prosperity. And see these tiny little bells? I noticed that on some of them, they used kind of bells as the beaks. And so I ordered some bells from China, and they got in yesterday. So I quickly sewed them on last night. But now you can use ribbon or something for the little tails. I just used DNC floss. I had some that was what do you call it? Variegated colors. And so I thought that would be cute. Now, the early ones, I did little hand sewing of wings on them. And I'm going to continue to do a little hand sewing and kind of, jazz them up a little bit more. And I used little color beads for the eyes and kind of coordinated with them. But I just think this is so cute. And I hung it on the stick for right now, but that's something I've been wanting to do since before Christmas. And let me hold it up this way so you can actually see it better. But aren't they cute? I love it. And it makes me happy. This kind of stuff, it's silly, but fun. And I said, I kept looking at them and saying, I could make that. And although if you buy them, you're probably helping to support a woman from Asia. But I wanted to make them, and I think they're just precious. So there we go. My prosperity hens. All right. We're going to get ready and go to show and tell in just a minute. But I thought I would show you two things. Also, I don't know. Let me see if you can see. On the lamp right there, I have plastic spools, empty spools. Those are, let me see. Hold on just a second. Those are the spools that I have emptied just this year from January on. I'm going to string up all my empty spools to show myself how much I'm getting done. And I just was doing so much, going through so much thread, and I thought, I hate just throwing these away. And I'm just going to string them up, eventually throw them away. But it makes me feel good. It's a sign of progress. Deb's actually getting something done. So, okay. Now I have these two bags. Right after this, we'll go do show and tell, and got some good stuff to show you. So I get a package from dear Melanie, who sent me some early Jenny Beyer that she had gotten from, I think it was like a church trunk sale, craft table sale. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Donate the empty spools. That's a great idea. I will definitely check. My daughter's a teacher. I'll have her ask the art teacher. Look at this wonderful. I just love this fabric. And believe it or not, I have some fabric that's a plum color that this would work perfectly for. So there's a bunch of it. Thank you so much, Miss Melanie. And then she also sent me a wonderful panel. She knows I love blue. And she said, this just looked like Deb. And I love it. Wonderful zinnia flowers on a blue panel. So that would be a lot of fun and very, ooh, you know what? I'm tempted to almost quilt it by hand. Either that, it'd be a lot faster to put it on the frame, but that might be really fun to do as a hand quilted project. But thank you so much, sweetie. I appreciate it more than you know. I've never even seen this Jenny Buyer. I'm pretty sure I have the same pattern in different colors. But thank you. Because if you're new here, I'm a huge fan of Miss Jenny Buyer. And she was one of the very first artisans or I think she was the first to have custom fabric designed by the fabric companies. So, and we can thank those ladies because until she came along, it was all calico and ugh. And one of the first things she said to the first company that she talked to is, I won't have you print my fabric unless you improve the quality of your fabric. So, must be nice to be that bold. And thank goodness, thank goodness. So, I have been looking for some fabric, backing fabric, because now that I'm actually getting all this stuff done, I'm running low on backing fabric. And, you know, you always have plenty of thread if you think about sewing but don't actually sew. And so I saw this on sale, navy toile on cream, 2-yard cut. So it is the extra wide backing. And I said, if I don't end up using it as backing, I've always wanted to do a blue and white quilt. And I love toile. So I might steal some of this to use too. And then the rest could be the backing for it. But this was okay, hold on, let me think. Was it $15? It was so cheap. It doesn't say on here, but I'm pretty sure this was like $15.99, $16 for two 108-inch wide yards. I jumped on that. And then while I was there, you know, if you're going to pay shipping, I saw some of this. I think that is so pretty. And I love making journals, and that would be really pretty on a journal. And then look at this. So I'll be making some sewing journals. Yay! So anyway, Brenda's Stitchery. Oh, yay. That's a great one. I also went on Marshall Dry Goods, and they have backings very reasonably. So I'm very excited. That's all I've gotten the last couple days, although Mark ordered me a new suitcase to take to my upcoming retreat. Luckily, we found them pretty inexpensive. I said, don't buy a fancy, expensive one. And, you know, because I'm kind of rough on them. But I needed a suitcase that had rollers. I can't keep carrying stuff, not if I am hoping to go to things, because my body is starting to show its age. So all the stuff, when I go to somewhere, all the stuff that I've got to unload, I understand now why a lot of women get their husbands to help them. But Mark still works, and I want to try to keep doing it myself as long as I can. So we'll see. But okay, that light's already off. Don't have to worry about that. Let's get you ready. And hopefully Mark put a very technical fix on this camera. He took a big rubber band and put it on the capture wire. So hopefully you won't lose my voice when I turn the camera around. But we can always try. Oh, y'all are so patient with me. Thank you so much. Oops. Hold on one second. My computer screen. I bought a new laptop because the little automatic switch on this computer screen is getting ready to go out. I haven't had any time to set up a new laptop. I'd rather have a root canal than set up a new laptop. So anyway, for a moment there, the screen went black and I thought, oh, that might be it. But I got it back. All right, here we go. And just so you know, yes, we have some technical problems often here, but I'm making this stuff do things it was never meant to do because I want it to do what I want it to do. So anyway, okay, here we go. Oops. Okay, let me go to your wonderful. Yeah, we're always MacGyvering things. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and just so you'll know, with this Zen Safari that we're doing, I'm taking this big elephant, and then I looked and said, let me look up African fabrics. And look how there are a lot of doodle designs, okay? Because that's where I first was thinking about something very relaxing and zenful, but with doodling. And I found out that, oh my goodness, there are, oh, I happened to put something in here. I'll show you. There is, Lori, POPOW.com. She is an amazing teacher. I love listening and watching her. She taught me so much. But anyway, so that's the word, Pasanki. And it is Ukrainian, which just makes my heart happy. So we're thinking of them. All right. So now here are, here are the African patterns that I was finding when I went online. So you can do I'm going to do doodles in a black pen, but then I'm going to take and quilt the whole quilt. So in this elephant, and you can do a zebra or giraffe, I'm going to do sections, especially in the trunk. It lends itself to these rectangular or whatever sections. And then I'm going to draw these authentic the patterns from authentic African fabric. I thought, how cool is that? And once I get everything drawn and then quilted, then I'll come in with my fabric paint and I'm going to paint all the little designs. So that's what this guy is doing. And so these are all the different patterns I found on African fabric. I mean, some really beautiful. I've got so many, and I put them on our group's IO, and I found so many examples. Oh, this is the dove. Remember I told you I used to work at a museum in Maryland? Well, the dove finally ended up, after 40 some years, she was not worth repairing anymore. So they built a brand new replica. And this is the supply ship that came over from England when Maryland was first settled in 1634. And there's the captain, Will Gates. I used to work with him. And so I didn't realize I stuck these photos in this folder. There is the dove being hoisted out of the water. And I know that was a sad day, but luckily they've got a brand new replica. Okay, here's the African fabrics again. Look at all these designs. So as you can see, we're going to have plenty to fill up. Plenty to fill up. Whoops. Okay. Well, let me stop with that. But plenty of African fabric designs. This one, oh my goodness. Look, this is beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? That looks Art Deco to me, too. So I just found lots of wonderful designs, and I'll be looking for plenty more. All right, so, and just to show you, look at this lion. Isn't that really cool? And that's why I thought of painting, doing something like this to paint, because much easier. But then there are, look at this turtle. And I got the idea of to do this from a puzzle that was for sale by a Chinese company. And I thought, oh my goodness, what a cool idea. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so now let's go back. Miss Betty. Miss Betty, I love this picture of her and her handsome husband who's doing better and better. She won a Village President's Choice Award in the Strawberry Festival. Oh, what a nice ribbon. And I'll show you the quilt she won that with. And then look, here is where she's working on her woodland waterfall. She said she was having problems getting everything sewed down, but hopefully she's got it on a piece of scrap fabric as a foundation. But that is wonderful. She'd also like to enter it in a quilt show. I love this. I hadn't noticed that yet. Beautiful work, Miss Patty. Wow. Wow. And there are her trees up in hers. And she has some frogs, I think she's been putting on hers, which I love that. And she didn't quite know how to end it, so she just ran it over. I think that's really cool. And here is the quilt that she won the ribbon for. Isn't that beautiful? She would like to enter it in Houston, and it had to have a ribbon from a different show before you can enter it. So that's lovely, and we wish you the best. Good for you. To me, that is the fun part. We're of an age, we're brave, we do what we really want to do. I'm sorry Miss Beebe had to leave, but here is one of her works. Look at this. This is gorgeous. I adore that. And look at the tatting in this arrangement, a dry flower arrangement. And one more of that fully together. That is so pretty. And that is doing the what do they call it? That's where you'd use the 60-degree angles and cut a border design, which that's beautiful. So, okay, let's see here. Then Miss Bonnie, she has been busy doing talk about history. This is black work. This is from it's Jacobean. This is from the 1600s. And look at her beautiful work. And notice the ruler below this. That is amazing. I'm so glad her eyes are doing better and she can do something so difficult as that. Beautiful. So way to go, Miss Bonnie. Love it. Then Brenda, I need to get in touch with Brenda. I hope she's well. I know that she is an excellent quilter. And if you're looking for, she's in Michigan, and if you're looking for a good quilter, Miss Brenda could be that person for you. I love this landscape with that long curvy strip look. Wonderful. Here is a quilt on her frame. She's an excellent quilter. Here is a lighthouse that she did, and I love the reflection. And there's another one. So thank you, Miss Brenda, and feel free to send us more, especially if you want to send us things you quilt for customers, if they wouldn't mind you showing us that. I just wanted to show you, I went out a couple weeks ago and just was noticing things blooming away. And it's a good thing I took these pictures, because now with the couple of frosts we've had, I don't think they're probably in the best shape. And look at those cherry trees. I adore cherry trees. Let me see if that's the last. Oh, then last Sunday, guess what? We had snow. and it's just a dusting, and it was gone in 2 hours. But I was so disappointed because we hadn't had snow all year, all season, all winter, and we did for 2 hours last Sunday. So I'm so excited. We actually got some. Oh, okay. Let's see who is next. Miss Debbie. And oh, wait till you see her woodland quilt. Here is her new home, all built and ready in Maryland. I'm so happy for her. She moved from Houston to the East Coast. Yay! And look at her. She's got pins. She's still working on it. Is that pretty or what? Whoops. Look at that. So great job. Great job. It's been fun, and I hope that you learned a lot and thought, you know what, I can do this. And here is Diana B. She did a wonderful pet quilt for her parents' dogs. Isn't that beautiful? And then look at this beach quilt and see the piece of driftwood it's hanging from. And then on the bottom, let me see if I can get the picture to move. I'm not sure I can. But on the bottom, she has hanging there, I think they're tiny little beads or wires and then shells. So don't just stop at the quilt. Think outside the box. Look at Diana's gorgeous studio. I couldn't believe this when I saw it. I thought that is spectacular. And I love the joy that this room shows. The time to take to make the extra little moldings and to have this wonderful place to put the light. I mean, and the striping. What a happy room. That's a beautiful studio, Diana. Thank you for sharing that with us, hon. Then here is a wonderful quilt that she's making, loving exploring that three-dimensional effect. Then here are her granddaughters. One's quilt is up here on the wall. I think it might be this one's. And this one's holding her strip piecing race, I think they call it. Strip race, I forget. But isn't that wonderful? She has granddaughters who are involved in quilting. I wasn't able to do that, but I tried. So that is terrific. Thank you, Diana Bicknell, for sending those, hon. Then our Diana Jones, I believe, Diana's Sewing Adventures. Here is a lovely purple quilt. I love this. One of these days, I'm going to get brave enough to do this. Look at that on the bed. Isn't that just beautiful? And there's her pretty face with a tote that she made. Puppies. I think she made it for a granddaughter. Isn't that sweet? I love that. And beautiful painting here she did. Y'all are just multi-talented. I love it. Okay. Now let's see who is next. Next is Miss Jody. I just can't stop showing these. I love her Wicked Witch. And then she's working on a shirtings quilt and a 9-patch based off an 1890s pattern, if I remember correctly. So beautiful work. And if you want to send any shirtings to Miss Jody, just let me know. Okay? Because anytime you're doing a quilt like that has so many pieces, it's nice to have as many different varieties as you can get. This is Miss Wonderful Lisa, who I met at Myrtle Beach Quilt Party, and she has become such a joy to our group. So she has been working on her Nod to the 19th Century block of the week. So there's one. I love all her choices of colors. You know what? I noticed that when we were taking the class together in Myrtle Beach, that she's just got a different view of color, and I'm drawn to it because I'm a little more afraid of color, and she has a joyfulness about color. So I really enjoyed watching her put together her exploding heart quilt, and it shows in her blocks here. And there, she's all the way up to date. So I'm going to get her I'm going to sit down and work on the next couple months of, couple weeks of patterns. All right. So that was Miss Lisa's. Then Miss Mary. Oh my goodness. Wait till you see this quilt. This is a quilt called Dog the Bone Hunter, which I love. I love her sense of humor. And you're like, dog? Wait a minute. These are all kitty cats. I think this was for her granddaughter. But if you look down here in the corner, you'll see dog. And let me see, go back this way. But I love this quilt. And wait till you see the detail. Look at her quilting. Isn't that amazing? She's kind of showing it from the side here. And I love that she has a place she can hang her quilts to photograph outside so you can get the best color. That's wonderful. And good old curtain rods with the little clips. That's the way to go. I love it, Miss Mary. All right, now let's go back. And here is the dog that was in the corner. And she put little snaps on the paws because the bone comes off. It's a 3-dimensional bone. Is that the cutest? So this is her quilt, Dog the Bone Hunter. It's absolutely adorable. Love, love, love it. Isn't that great? I love the way each of you has your own personality and you let it show in your artwork. Miss Marcia's been busy with her crocheting. This is a picture of a shawl that she just recently made. I love that, Miss Marcia. Beautiful. Okay. Then Miss Melanie. And I'm hoping I didn't miss other pictures from Miss Melanie. But is this dog so... Oh, Willow is... Look at that. That is adorable. Just makes you want to kiss her. And then she's like, okay, it's time for bed. Come on, people. I know what time it is. Look at this beautiful wall hanging she made for a church. That is just beautiful. Her own pattern. I love the 3-dimensional fabric. That is just beautiful. And I know that the church loves it too. And then this is so cute. A couple weeks ago, she had this big snow. And little Miss Willow just lays right in the snow. She absolutely loves it. But that's a beautiful picture. But that looks like about a foot of snow or more. That's too much for Deb. But isn't that pretty? That's just beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Miss Melanie. Okay. Oh, and I don't know if Melton could hang in long enough. But I love this. I love the stick that she hangs it from. And this was a pre-printed panel that she did this wonderful, wonderful hummingbird on. Look at that. I love her work. Just beautiful. And over in Turkey, it's hard to find quilting fabrics. But look at these beautiful curtains she made. She said she has people that come and have their picture made in front of those curtains because it's so pretty. And it is. It's absolutely lovely. Isn't that wonderful? I've never thought of making a pieced curtain, but it's wonderful. It looks like stained glass because of the seam allowance. Isn't that beautiful? So, Miss Melton, our hat is off to you. They are absolutely beautiful. Way to go, hon. So thank you for those pictures. I love seeing the different colors, the different ideas. Miss Nazarene, I left in her amazing, amazing, amazing mosaic sea turtle. That is just beautiful. I'd love to try something like that again. I mean, look at the way that she did the quilting to make it look like the wrinkled neck of the turtle. Then look at all the little pebble bubbles she did in the water. That's just beautiful. So thank you for sharing your beautiful art with us. It does inspire us. Miss Polly, now I think I got Miss Polly to agree to do a weaving demonstration. I need to hurry up and get my room clean so I can have her over. I can tell from pictures she sent. She keeps a very clean house, and oh my goodness, I don't want her to see my mess. She's already seen it once. That was enough. But here is her loom that she bought. And look at her wonderful weaving. That gets me so excited. I've always wanted to learn to weave. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Simply beautiful. So I'll have to get together with Miss Polly and figure out when we can get a demonstration. Because, yes, we started out with quilting, but I love so much, and I hope you do too. And so let's look and learn everything we can learn. And here she is, quilting and stitching down a beautiful. This is Miss Robin, and she is stitching down her latest collage quilt. Love it. Here is her room companion. I love, love, love that she also has a dog that loves to keep her company. And look at this. This is where you take string and I think acrylic paint, and you pull the string through the paint, and it gives these exquisite designs. So maybe we can figure out how Miss Robin can make us a video showing us how to do this. Now, this reminds me of what I was telling you about the encaustic style, which is using different media to build up a three-dimensional effect on a work of art. And then she has painted with a beautiful metallic paint over it. That is exquisite, and I would love if she could show us how she does that. And I assume she uses yarn and string, and maybe did she buy the leaves or make them? I mean, it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And look at this one. It's a triptych, which just means three pieces in one art. I love that. Love, love, love it. So we would love to learn more about that. Way to go, Miss Robin. You are so talented. So, so talented. And we feel really bad for your wonderful brother-in-law. I'm really, really sorry. Okay, I think that is it. Sue Roberge, I I have got to get with that poor lady. She's being so patient with me that I want to do a Zoom with her. She's got some questions on her current art quilt. So I want to be able to do that Zoom. And I forgot and said, let's do it Wednesday. And Grammy had to go to the vet and get his dental. So I couldn't do it. And I'm sorry if I kept her waiting. I totally forgot in my worry to hurry and get him to his tooth appointment, and he's doing very well. Some of his numbers in his blood work are a little off, but he is 11, so I think that's to kind of be expected. But otherwise, he's doing really well, and his teeth, what teeth he has left, they're doing good. So, all right, any other questions? I know, don't you love other people's art? In fact, please do me a favor and please do me a favor. And if you have any photos that you would like to share with us, our time to quilt at twc.com. Send me your photos. Tell me a little bit about them. We would love to share them with the group. And I'm thinking that, have I talked about everything else? but I appreciate all the new members to our group IO. If you've been watching this show and you'd like to join, a group IO is like the old Yahoo chat rooms. And in this, we can keep talking about different things or ask questions or share free patterns. And it's a place you can have your own photo album and post all the photos of the things that bring you joy and your art, any of your creativity. So you can use that same email address to let me know if you'd like to join our groups IO. Okay. Oh, 300% up from 8.5 by 11 would be 25.5 by 33. I think I could do that with this fabric. Ooh, let me see. 1, 2. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. And I think that sounds a good size that wouldn't overwhelm me. So let me see, 25.5. Thank you for working that out. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Okay, so this is 24, 25.5. Okay, let me come here. Whoops. Need to re-iron some of this down. Okay. This is perfect. And that way, now when I iron this into 16 rectangles, the proportions will be the same, because I just didn't think about the fact that the paper I originally drew on was taller than wide, and I wanted to have them. All right. So now, yep, this looks much more like the ratio of a sheet of paper. So now when oh, that's so cute. All right, now did I get the length? Let me go back. Where is that measurement again? I think it was 33. Let me see. Oh, I love y'all for helping with this. Uh-oh, where is it? There it is. 25.5 times 33. I love it. Okay, 1, 2. Up. It's perfect. Well, no, that's 36. So let me take a little bit off. All right. 25.5 times 33. Okay. And you know what I'm going to actually do? I'm going to leave. It's just 2 inches too long. I'm going to leave it for now so that I can put something a little bit maybe on the ground beneath his feet. But that looks good. And what she's just doing, if you didn't know, is I'm trying to get the right dimensions, because I fold this in 16 squares and I draw whatever is in this square on that square of the fabric. So I will press this. Let me show you real quick. This is a great way to enlarge, to even shrink, or just to help you be able to draw more accurately. Let's say you say, I can't draw. Yes, you can if you try this way. It's a wonderful method that they teach to art students in colleges, art classes, everywhere. All right. So I'm just reattaching, making sure after ripping the fabric, the stuff tends to want to pop off a little. All right, let's see. My iron hadn't quite heated up. But then what I'm going to do when I tack this back down, it just came up in a couple places right here. Let me tack it back down. Now, if you're worried that your interfacing is not going to want to stick good, then what I would do is just base stitch all around the outside. And That way, if the glue gives loose, not a worry. Okay, there I had a little pucker, so I just peeled it back apart. You want to make sure you don't over iron this. I told y'all the last time that what ends up happening if you over iron it, either use too hot of an iron or iron it too long, the glue will all melt off the fusible, all go into the fabric, and then it won't hold the fusible on at all. So you want to melt it just enough that it sticks the fusible to the fabric, but not that the glue runs off the fusible and into the fabric, because then you'll just have a worthless piece of fusible. All right, so now what I'm doing with this fabric to make it match our pattern, because see what I've done with the pattern is fold it up, and if you want it to make sure that the pattern has the creases really in good, and okay, good. If you want to make sure the creases are in really good, then you can even iron your paper. Okay, so 16 sections, okay? But you've got to make sure that if this was a square piece of paper, you'd use a square piece of fabric. But since this is oblong, not oblong, but since this is a rectangle, it's narrower than tall, you have to find the same ratio with your fabric. Now and I'm going to put a good solid crease right in the middle of this. So now it's folded in half. Then I'm going to come down, not all the way, because I know that this is 2 inches too long. And I'm going to put another crease in here. You want to get good crease, because those creases are everything for you. Okay, then I fold it in half this way. Now, I don't want to starch it. I know starching would leave some very good creases, but I'm going to be painting this with fabric paint, and I don't want anything on the fabric to get in the way of the paint being absorbed. So, okay. So now, I need to fold it one more time. All right, one more time. Now I should have 16 equal rectangles. All right, so now let me show you. And this is the best way to draw anything that you're having trouble with. Okay. Yep, the fabric is up here. So now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 16 equal rectangles here. You've got 16 equal rectangles here. You just come in and draw. Let's just take one little rectangle right here. You draw in this rectangle what you see on here. And it's so much easier because you can say, there's around halfway. So start your line there, come down, and just always look at where you are in that block. And it's wonderful because it helps you to easily enlarge, to shrink, or to accurately draw anything. Okay? So I will, real quick, okay. So I'm just going to show you just briefly here. Let me see, are you in the screen? Okay. So I'm doing the second one down from the top. I really love this method. Love, love, love it. Second one down from the top, this one right here. And ignore my lines that are showing through. They'll get painted over. So I start a line here. This is about less than a third of the way across this rectangle. So I come in here and I come down to about the halfway point and then start to come over a little, then come down, and in this, whoops, and this is why I only use a white eraser, because any other color eraser is going to mark your fabric. But then here, I know I've got to get this tusk in. So I look how far it is from the edge, and I come here. Oops, let me see. This is about okay. So I come up here and draw this tusk and come down with it. Okay, and then I can come down with this part that I'm seeing here, and over here about 3/4 of the way here. Come in here and something right here, and then so you see what you do? You just draw what you see here, you draw it here. And that way you can kind of take the time, concentrate on how far from the center, because here's the center of the block this way, here's the center of the block that way, and it helps you it'll help you in reproducing what you see on your pattern. And just make sure you have a white eraser, and that way you can adjust. You can, and oh, another thing that I learned from an artist, never erase the wrong line until you've drawn the right one. He said too often, if you erase the wrong line first and then draw, you might draw it right in the same place. So just, I'm giving you a few little art tips along the way too. Any questions we have before we say goodbye? Oh, that's wonderful. Also, Mark reminded me that you can also take this drawing into an office supply store, like Staples or whatever, and say, I want this enlarged like she did, 300%. So then it's not that expensive, just a few dollars. Then you can come home, and if you have the big size you want, you put it right under the fabric, lay it over it, and trace. So those are good things to do. All right, anything else going on? And thank you so much for that math work. That was terrific, because Mark and I were trying to approach it. Well, how do we get it this? And what is this? 8.5 is what to 11? And then, yeah. It's been a long time since math class. All right, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for spending this wonderful time with me. And I think we didn't lose sound today. I think we didn't. I will see you Thursday night. Do something really good for yourself this week, whether it's go see a movie like Otto, or one of that movie that won all the awards. I've got to see that one. But take good care of yourself. Thank you for Laura R is here. And thank you so much for our Marcia. She's such a sweet and gentle soul. Welcomes everyone in. It was, yes, that movie, Otto, was just terrific. So thank you all for spending this time with me. Thursday night, we're going to really make some good progress on that beach quilt. And then I'll see you here next week for more on this tricky Zen elephant. Take good care. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your time. And thank you, Marcia, for her kindness. What a sweet lady. Bye-bye, guys.